With me as usual is Merle, Barn Cat, Cooper. You gonna share that? Y'all always in my way. Hey guys, good morning. I'm gonna do something a little bit different today. Since we've had a lot of storms come through, Hurricane Helene, and then we've had a winter storm coming through, and we got a couple more coming through the next couple of weeks. So people's been asking me about generators and what type of generators they should use or get. So, and after thinking about it a while, it's not an easy decision to make when it comes to getting the right generator for your needs. Me and some friends was discussing this, and there's so many different variables in your situation. Like, do you have access to natural gas? That's a big help if you do, because if the power goes out and you have a gas, if you have gas heat or a gas hot water heater, that kind of changes the game. So if you're completely on electric, that's another issue that you need to consider. So we'll go through and kind of discuss each one of these generators and the pros and cons of each. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about how to hook it into your home, because I'm not a licensed electrician, so I don't want to give out any advice. I know what I'm going to do, and I'll share that. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and go through each one of these. So we'll talk about this guy first. It's a Sportsman 2200 watt max and 1800 watt continuous. I got this at Home Depot, and overall it's been a good unit, but I did have some issues with it when I first got it. I was down at the sawmill shed cutting some boards with skill saw, and it just quit working. And so I ran to Home Depot and bought this Predator. And when I got finished what I was doing, I brought it back up to the shop, took it apart, and I found that the ground wire, I'm not going to take all this off, but the ground wire actually broke going to the frame. And I replaced that lug, fired right up. It's been running ever since. And my uncle actually used it during Hurricane Helene to run his freezer and refrigerator, and it ran great for maybe 4 or 5 days. They were without power. So overall, it's great. It's really quiet. It's real fuel efficient. It'll run forever on the gallon of gas. So it's just limited on what it can do. All right, so this guy's only going to be able to do about 15 amps, and so what I've done in the past when the power was out, what my uncle did is typically we'll plug the refrigerator in, let it run for a bit, unplug it, plug up the freezer, let it run for a little bit. It will actually run both as long as they both don't come on at the same time, which would maybe be kind of rare because your freezer don't run as much as your refrigerator. So anyway, that's just to be safe, run one at a time. And if you alternate that back like if you plug your freezer up every couple of hours and let it run for 30 minutes or so, you're not going to have any issues with losing your food in the freezer. Your refrigerator, it'll have to run a little bit more. So the next generator that I have, and I'll probably sell this one since I went and got this guy, but this is a great generator. I really like it. I used it for 7 days during Hurricane Helene, and it ran flawless, and it did everything I needed it to do, and it's pretty quiet. If you know, it has this ESC throttle, which is like it allows it to throttle down when there's not being a load applied, which makes it a lot quieter and more fuel efficient. And again, this guy's, I don't know the specs on how long it would run on a tank of gas. I think you could probably get that off Harbor Freight's website. But continuous, it'll run 30 amps. And this one actually has the plug for the 30 amp 120, and it's got two 120 volt 20 amp outlets, and of course you got your USB and your DC output, or that's your parallel operation, sorry. So this guy's like I said, it's real fuel efficient, it's quiet, runs great. And one thing about these Predator generators is every one that I've used, it fires right up. They could sit for 6 months, and you turn the fuel on, let the fuel, give it a couple minutes for the fuel to drain into the carburetor, you pull the choke, it fires up usually first pull. They're really good generators in my opinion. And the only reason that I wanted to upgrade was well, there's two reasons. One, I have a welder and a plasma cutter that it would be easier, you know, sometimes I need to go weld something or cut something that it's not at the shop, and so I got this guy because it'll do 240 volts. And but also during Hurricane Helene, when the power was out for 7 days, I didn't have hot water because I have an electric hot water heater. And that was frustrating. That was the only issue that I had, because you know we can cook on the grill or the Coleman stoves. We can run the refrigerator in the freezer. All our 120 volt stuff we can run, no issues. But not having hot water was the only issue. We were having to boil water, and that kind of got old. So those are the two main reasons why I wanted to upgrade to a 240 volt unit. And so I just got this thing the other day. They've been out for a while because of the storms, people, you know, trying to prepare for what's coming with these winter storms. So this came in, and Harbor Freight's awesome. I called them. They said that they had the generator in, and I went up there to get it, and the box looked like it had been rolled down a hill. And we got to looking at it, and the unit was perfectly fine. And so they gave me a discount on that, which I really appreciate. It kind of helped takes the sting off of it. But you know, the bigger generators are definitely more expensive. Now, this one also has the Eco Throttle, which that was one of the reasons why I went ahead and got this one. And it's big enough to run a hot water heater. And now it's not a whole home generator. You're not going to be able to run everything in your house on it, but you can be able to run certain items at one time. You just got to be smart with what you're doing. So anyway, I just got this thing put together, just got oil in it, and I'm going to fire it up. So I'll show you that. We'll look and see what happens, or how hard it is to crank straight out of the box. Now this one has the electric start on it, which I really didn't want that, but to get the Eco Throttle and the size I wanted, this was my best option. So let's fire it up and see how it does. All right, so when you get older, you start trying to find easier ways to do things. And since they started making these gas cans with these crazy contraptions on the end to get the fuel out, it's always aggravating. So I took all those off, threw them away, and I bought some different nozzles to put on them, but none of them fit right. They always leak. Gas goes everywhere, gets on your shoes. So I ended up getting this thing from Amazon, and I don't know how it works yet, so I just got it. It's got a manual siphon pump on it, so turn the valve on, pump the gas in. I mainly got this for the sawmill because it's really hard to fill that up where I have it located. So, yeah, I just stick this in the bucket of the tractor, take it down there and fill it up. So we're going to find out together whether this thing works or not. So it's a 14-gallon tank, I think, and right off the bat it leaks. So let me fix that. I don't think I have it tight enough. Okay. Hey, that works. All right. So there's a valve up here you're supposed to open so it can breathe. There it goes. What do you know? Okay. It may be worth the extra $60, $70 to get an electric pump, but this works. You're gonna get a four-arm pump, that's for sure. I'm thinking that it said it could do 2 gallons a minute flow rate, so I don't know about that. So this gas tank has 5.94 gallon capacity, and it says it will run 15.1 hours on a tank of fuel. So it's not too bad. This 4750 or whatever it is, this one here has a 3.8 gallon tank, and it says it has an operating time of 16.1 hours, and that's not at full load. That's at well, it doesn't specify, so I'm not sure, so don't hold me to that. That's just what the book says. So I'm not going to fill this thing all the way up right now. I got enough in it to do the startup and see if it works. All right, so we'll run this small generator first, just so you can kind of see the difference. I turned the gas on a couple minutes ago, let it fill up the bowl and on the carburetor. But I was talking with the guys at work, and we were talking about when people buy the generators for, say we have a storm coming in and they're worried about the power going out. So they fill it up, get it running, and they use it for the one storm or one power outage or whatever it may be. Stick it in the building, basement, whatever. And they don't run it at all. They just let it sit there. And so the first thing that happens is the fuel in the carburetor goes bad because the temperature changes, and the fuel doesn't last forever anyway. So it gets in the bowl, and if it goes bad in the bowl first because there's a smaller amount. So anyway, what I recommend is just getting the units out, or getting the generators out every so often, just run the gas out of the bowl. Personally, I turn the fuel off and run the fuel out of the bowl. And there's, if you get on the internet and look up what's the best way to do it, there's so many conflicting things and it's so confusing. But what's worked for me is turn the fuel off, let it use the fuel in the bowl, and the bowl stays empty. The only problem with that is your seals could dry out. So anyway, you just need to take care of it. You need to get it out, you need to run it, you need to change the fuel out every so often. If it goes 6 months or a year, I would change the fuel out just to be on the safe side. You can use stable if you want, but I've seen videos where stable doesn't work like they say that it does. So who knows? Best thing is to get them out and to run them, keep fresh fuel in them, and you won't have any problems. So let's see how aggravating this thing is to crank after sitting for a few weeks. It's probably been 4 weeks since I ran this one and this one about 4 weeks ago, just to keep them running. So, all right. Okay, so that's it's not that quiet. I wish I had a decibel meter, but I don't. So that's full throttle, wide open, and then when you switch it to eco, that's a big difference. So with that eco switch, it's throttling it down, and if it needs more power, it will throttle up. So this one's a little bit hard to crank, but once you get it running, you know, it's fine. It'll fire right up if I turn it off, and it's been a good generator. Okay. Look at that, first pull. That's amazing. All right, so I'm gonna turn to Eco. There again, it's pretty quiet. I really like this generator, but I probably will end up selling it since I got the bigger one. I think it weighs about 100 pounds, so you know, if I have to take it somewhere, it's not that big of a deal. This guy's 165 pounds, which that's a little heavy, but okay. It's got bigger wheels on it, so it makes it easier to roll. Well, I hadn't even looked at this thing to see what to do here. So fuel valve on. Okay, this thing has never started before, so eco throttle off, choke on. All right, here we go. Wow. Oh, that fired right up. That is amazing. All right, so I'm going to put the eco throttle on. Okay, wow, that's not bad. It's not as quiet as the 4550 generator, but it's not bad. I can live with that. That's good. This one also has a meter on it, an hour meter, and I'm not exactly sure what that U121 is. I'll have to look that up. So I feel like a dummy. That is not a U. That is a V. So that's your voltage. 121 volts. That's your frequency, 60 hertz. Hour meter. And that's the current time that it's been running since it was cranked. Okay, so I hope that gives you a good representation from a small generator to a little bit larger generator. Another thing that I wanted to mention was that if you have a load hooked up to your generator, don't start it with a load on it. Unplug everything or turn your breakers off. I should have mentioned that when I was cranking the generators, but I didn't have anything plugged into them. So don't crank it up with a load on it. So one other thing I wanted to mention was that this unit, it was more expensive, but it came with the wheels, which are the larger diameter wheels, which is good. They roll over the gravel and stuff really easy. Come with a handle. This generator did not come with a wheel assembly kit, so I had to buy that, which I'm thinking was like $35 or $50, something like that. But it's totally worth it to have the wheels on it. And this thing's light enough that you don't need it. So my plan is to keep this generator because it has 240 volts. I'm going to sell this generator, and I'll keep this guy just as a backup. And in case somebody else needs to use it or whatever. So back to the original intent of this video. Which generator do I need? So like I said, if you have natural gas and you just need to run your refrigerator, some appliances, I would go with a smaller generator. Running the fridge, this 2,000 watt generator will run a fridge and stuff, no problem. I think a microwave might max it out, but it'll still do it. If you have natural gas, but you don't have a natural gas range, and you're still wanting to have a generator that will run it, you're going to need a 240 volt. Your dryer, your range, your hot water heater. If you don't have natural gas and it's electric, you're going to need a larger generator. So you have to answer that question on your own. What are you wanting to get out of it? It's funny because at work, when I talk with people, the older people that I talk to in my age group, they're like, well, I want a whole home generator. And that's great. And a lot of people is going with that. And it's more expensive, and but it's convenient. You got all your heat. You can run all your appliances with a whole home generator. You can run your heat pump, and but it seems like the younger people that I talk to, the comfort is not as important. They just want to get by, keep their food. You can go with a smaller generator and save a ton of money. I think the range of these generators, I'm thinking this guy's like $400 and something. This guy was like $600 and something, and this was $1,100. Like I said, I did get a discount on this because the box was damaged. They give me a 20% discount, so I did good. But that's the price range, the size difference, and I know I may have not answered all your questions. But if you got any questions, reach out to me. Keep in mind, I'm not a licensed electrician, so I'm not going to tell you how to hook it into your house or anything. You need to do that research on your own. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a transfer switch and wire it up to where I can just plug this guy into my outlet when I need it, and flip the switches, and I can run. I'll be able to run my house. One appliance at a time maybe, but it'll run a hot water heater, it'll run the range. It's just not going to run everything at one time. So anyway, you got to decide what generator fits your budget and what do you actually need to survive when the power goes out. The older I get, I try to be prepared more and still have my comfort features. Another thing you want to consider is they have dual fuel, they have tri-fuels, which means that you have a generator that will run off of gas, propane, or natural gas. Now they derate those generators. The gas generators can supply more, these numbers on the front here are with gas. So if you have a dual fuel or tri-fuel, they're going to derate it. So gas is the highest rating. They derate it for propane, and it's derated even more for natural gas. And but I also looked at the operating efficiency of it, and it takes a lot of propane to run one of those. I was shocked at how much propane it required. It's good in a pinch, but these things will run 15 hours or so on a tank of 5 gallons of fuel. And so if you got access to gas, then you're good to go. Like I said, it's not real efficient with propane. Natural gas is if you're hooked up to natural gas, you're going to have an unlimited supply, but you're not going to have the current rating that you would if you was using gas. And that's a whole other thing. Getting gas when the power is out is, it's a nightmare, and it could be somewhat challenging. People really get crazy. The lines are long, so you got to go stand in the lines. You got to watch all the craziness and stuff, and it's not a pleasant experience. So try to be prepared. If you got a storm coming in, fill all your gas cans up much as you can, and try to be prepared for it. If you're out for 7 days like we was, you're going to go through a good bit of fuel. So I would even recommend maybe, well, the gas stations were running out of fuel, so you had to go get fuel when you seen the truck there. So anyway, there's a lot to consider. The best thing to do is be prepared. At least have a plan. At least know what you're wanting to do. What do you need to survive? You also got to consider, do you have someone with a oxygen pump in the house? That requires power too. So think about things like that and what you actually need to survive. So I hope this helps. I'll probably have people come at me about certain things that I missed. That's fine. Like I said, if you have questions, reach out to me. I'm not an expert on this. I'm just telling you what has worked for me and my experiences. So I hope this helps out. I'll see you guys later.